and welcome back to channel StageOne. I'm Allison, the prop master here at StageOne, and today we're going to do a Father's Day craft that I thought would be a really fun activity for you to try. It's called transferring a photo over to wood. So the things you're going to need is a piece of wood, a photo, which I'll explain a little in more detail about what you need about this photo, some water, some scissors, some Mod Podge, and a paintbrush. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab a piece of wood. I have this like beautiful piece of oak right here, and if there's any rough edges on the piece of wood you have, you're going to want to grab a sandpaper and just sand it down so it's nice and smooth. I've already done that on this piece of wood, so I'm not going to do that here. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get a photo. I have a photo of myself and my father and my sister that I want to transfer over to this piece of wood. The important thing about this is that it needs to be laser printed, which means that it can't be ink based. It needs to be lasered or the ink will run and you'll have a big smeary mess on your wood. So you want this to be an ink printed. You can probably get this anywhere you get printed. I know you can do it at FedEx or anywhere that there's like a print shop. They will have a laser printer that you can get this done. So I went and did that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut off any excess white that I don't need. So all this white border that I have around my photo, I'm going to cut that away. I have some like fun design scissors that I'm going to use just to make it a little more interesting, and it also makes it easier to kind of rub away. You'll understand when I explain that, but it makes it a little easier to rub away the paper of the picture. So I'm going to go ahead and with my scissors, I'm going to cut around the edge of my photo. Okay, so I have my photo here cut and ready to put onto my piece of wood. So if you grab some Mod Podge, which Mod Podge you can get at pretty much any craft store, you'll find it and they'll have all different selections of it. This you just need the matte Mod Podge. That's all you really need for it. So I'm going to go ahead and open the lid and I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge down on the wood first. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the size of my picture because I don't want it to go too far out. So I kind of am going to put my picture right where I think I'm going to sort of lay it. I'm going to put it above it. So when I'm making the sweeps across my wood, I'm doing kind of the right distance for it. All right, so I've got a nice even coat of Mod Podge on my wood right here. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my photo and I'm going to place it face down onto the wood. So it's going to go face down and I have the white side up. And I'm going to smooth it out as evenly and as best as I can. So I want to try to get rid of any bubbles that I maybe am seeing right now. So then I'm going to go back over with another light coat of Mod Podge on the white piece of paper. And this is just a lighter coat than what I did with the other, when I did the first coat. And you're going to see more bubbles kind of appear after you've done that. So again, with your hand, just go ahead and press it down and try to get the bubbles out as best you can. And I like to take the bubbles and push them to the nearest side. That's how I try to get rid of the bubbles. All right, the next part is you're just gonna let it sit overnight. That's what I like to let it sit overnight so it has a nice long dry time, and just let the Mod Podge dry. So we're gonna let this one dry, and I did one previous to this video, and I have let it dry, and I've sort of started to take the paper off. So the next thing I'm gonna do is, you're done with the Mod Podge, you don't need that anymore, so you can put that away. Is you're going to take water, and I have a paintbrush, and I sort of been using this technique, but you can also do this with a paper towel. And you're going to want to wet the paper and let the water kind of soak in, and you're going to sort of notice some spots where it darkens, and from there you're going to try to peel a layer of the paper off. This part is very slow and very tedious, so take your time. Don't worry about it if you don't go too fast, or you'll pull up the ink and you don't want to do that. So you're just going to go ahead and start pulling a layer of the paper off. And you can kind of see that I'm doing it in big chunks. I'm able to get like the first kind of low layer off in a big chunk. So now you're gonna have like this kind of rough area, and I'm gonna go back in with my paintbrush and I'm gonna wet it, but I'm gonna try to, it's gonna be more damp than wet is what you're looking for. And this is gonna be a long process. This is gonna take a lot of time. And then as delicately as you can with just your finger, you're gonna start to rub and just sort of pull the picture. You're gonna pull some paper off. But you don't wanna pull too harshly because again, you could pull the whole thing off. So slow and steady wins this race. The other thing you might have to do is I also like to do a layer where I pull some paper away and then I let the whole thing dry. And then I keep doing that over and over again. Because you can kind of see where I've started it down below. When it dries, there's still white there. So I'm gonna have to re-wet it with my paintbrush and then start wiping away again. So slowly and surely, as I keep going, you can sort of start to see my face emerge. You can see my dad's face coming through. And you can see my sister's face. And it's just about being slow and just rubbing your finger into the wood. So I'm gonna finish the rest of this off camera and I will show the end result of it. All right, great. Okay, so I have been wiping away the paper for about 5 or 10 minutes, and you can see that I've gotten a pretty good coat off and the pictures come through really nicely. Right now I'm gonna let this dry and see where there's still more paper that needs to be rubbed off, so I'm gonna let this completely dry, and if there's white spots, I'm gonna go in with some water and keep rubbing it off, but I just wanted to let you guys see kind of what the finished product should look like. You're still gonna see the wood, but our picture is gonna be there at the end of it. Some really kind of tips for this process. One of the things is to remember the darker the picture, the better it comes through. As you can see, like my dad's hat comes through really nicely, and my sister's shirt is really coming through nicely. So you're gonna kind of wanna remember that a darker picture is actually gonna work really well on this if there's more contrast to the wood. Also, just really important for you to remember that slow and steady wins this race. If you do it too fast, you can kind of see in this corner where I rubbed too hard and it came up, like the ink came up. So that's just something to keep thinking about, and you just kind of keep working at it until you're happy with how it looks, what your end product looks like. Thank you so much for tuning in today at Channel StageOne. I hope you had fun. I hope you try this craft and tell us if you do. Thank you so much. If you like what you see, please follow the link down below to donate. Have a great day and have a wonderful Father's Day. Thanks.